in this, I have written the introduction. This introduction is for the long answer question. If they ask about the about Kautilyam Arthashastram or about Kautilya's Desha Kala, we can take points from here and write. So first let us see that. After that we will go to Arthashastra Adhikaranas and Adhyayas in general. So we classify the Vangmayas as two. One is Vaidika and another is Laukika. Samhita, Brahmana, Aranyaka, Upanishad and Vedangas come under the Vaidika Vangmaya, and all other Granthas come under Laukika Vangmaya. So Arthashastra comes under the second category, that is Laukika Vangmaya. Before Kautilya's Arthashastra, there was no single study on Arthashastra as elaborate as this. So, but there were several mention of the topics, like in Vedic literature, Raja Sabha, Sarvajanika Sabha, Mandala. In all those places, it used to be mentioned. Then there were the guidelines for the king and for the benefit of the citizens, but there was no separate section for Rajakiya Shastra. As we said earlier, the first available elaborate work is Kautilya's Arthashastra. In his Arthashastra, he mentions that I have gathered the information from all the previous acharyas and consolidated it. So that quote also I will tell you later. Arthashastra acknowledges dharma, artha and kama, but the emphasis is on artha. This is the guideline for the king in good governance. It has several sections to make sure that he rules the kingdom properly, as well as he doesn't become a dictator. He should not be a Nirankusha Prabhu. He should gather information. He should collect information about the citizens' happiness, and then accordingly he has to rule. So this is it's very clear in Arthashastra that he should not become a dictator. What does Arthashastra mean? So it is the study of Artha. Arthasya Shastram Artha. But Artha, what is Artha? It has different meanings. So, one meaning is Prayojana, another is Uddesha, or Padasya Artha. So Kautilya says, Manushyanam Vrittihi Arthaha, Manushyavati Bhumihi iti Arthaha, Tasyaha Prithivyaha Labha Palanopayaha Shastram, Arthashastram iti. This is an important line we have to remember. He says Artha means Bhumi. Manushyavati Bhumihi ityarthaha. The earth is essential for the existence of the mankind. So that is called Artha. About the Palana, Labha Palanopayaha is Arthashastra. Somadeva in his Niti Vakyamrita says, Yata Sarva Prayojana Siddhihi Saha Arthaha. That which gives all the benefits. Then Acharya Shankara, Adya Shankara in Jayamangala. Jayamangala is an important Vyakhyana for Arthashastra. He says, Artho Yena Loko Vartate. He says that the world exists due to this. That is the main, the most essential in the world. So Artha is one among the Dharma. No. Adya Shankara. He is not Shankaracharya. He is not the Shankaracharya who wrote Saundarya Lahari. He is different. Acharya Shankara is not the same person as Adi Shankara. This we asked sir also in the class. The Jayamangala Kartru is a different Shankara. Nivedita, is it okay? Can we continue?
Yeah, please proceed.
If you happen to know more about him, please let us know.
Okay.
As I understand, it is not Adi Shankaracharya. In Vaidika Vangmaya, dharma gets the most emphasis. Artha and kama are considered as part of dharma, like it supports dharma shastra or niti shastra. But Kautilya says Raja dharma and Raja niti shastra also is important. He gives importance to all the three. Dharma, artha, kama, all are important, and artha is given more importance in Arthashastra. Yajnavalkya says Arthashastra balavat dharma shastramiti sthitihi. This is a very important quote. It will be asked in Yajnavalkya Smriti as well as we can quote here also. Wherever there is a conflict of opinion between Arthashastra and Dharma Shastra, we have to go to Dharma Shastra, and that is the ultimate. Like if there is a conflict, we have to refer to Dharma Shastra. Arthashastra tu bhalavat Dharma Shastram. This is what he says. Yajnavalkya says this. Before Kautilya's Arthashastra, there were many works on the same subject. I'll go through all this. Whatever we recollect, we can write in the long answer question.
Yeah. 1 minute. There is a site called Sringeri.net. Under that, Sri Adi Shankara works of Sri Adi Shankaracharya. There they have mentioned a Sankhya work called Jayamangala and a Nyaya work called Sthitira Siddhi are also attributed to him.
Okay. Then we keep it as we can just see Adya Shankaracharya. Because in the KSOU class, sir clearly said he is not Adi Shankaracharya. So there is a confusion, but we don't have to. We just say
Shankaracharya. I was curious. He has written commentaries for Gita, Upanishad, and all. I was wondering if he is the same person who would write on Arthashastra also. But this is Sringeri Shartha Peetham site. Okay.
I also had that same opinion earlier, but after the class I didn't double check. So if you have checked, let's. So.
Divya, can I interrupt? Sorry.
No, I did not double check. After sir said it is not him, I just took his word for granted. So anyway.
Divya, can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention the name Shankaracharya. The confusion that arises is because in the Advaita, this one, all the acharyas are called Shankaracharya. So there is this basic debate whether all the works attributed to Shankaracharya is written by Adi Shankaracharya himself or not. Like there are so many things that has been written, right? Everybody in that lineage who comes in that Mathadipati, everybody is called Shankaracharya. So there is a basic debate going on about it. So it could be some other Shankaracharya, may not be Adi Shankaracharya himself, or it could be Adi Shankaracharya himself. So I just wanted to make.
Okay. But for our exam point of view, let us write Jayamangala Kartru Shankaracharya. So then can I continue?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. In Vedas, Varuna is referred to as Raja. So the idea of Raja, Prajapalana Kartru, is mentioned in Vedas. Then in Brahmanas, Brahma Kshatra is explained. Please note, I could not type Brahma properly, so please correct it in your copies. Then in Dharma Sutras of Kalpa, Kalpa is one of the 6 Vedangas. Raja Dharma is explained, and in Bodhayana Dharma Sutra, Apastamba Dharma Sutra, Gautama Dharma Sutra, the guidelines for good governance are explained. Then Manusmriti and Yajnavalkya Smriti mention the same. Then in Ramayana, the tattvas are indirectly explained. There is no direct upadesha on Arthashastra or Rajaniti, but it is understood. It is explained as part of the Kavya. In Mahabharata, it's different. There are complete chapters, complete upadeshas on Rajadharma. Shanti Parva is there, and after the war, Bhishma's Upadesha to Yudhishthira. It is a very important Pancharatna, right? Nivedita, you were mentioning it's one of the Pancharatna. So, then Vidura Niti to Duryodhana, all are about governance. Bharadwaja. Kautilya mentions about these acharyas, Bharadwaja, Vishalaksha, Pishuna, and Kaunapadanta. So Bharadwaja is known to be Dronacharya, but in Arthashastra he doesn't say Dronacharya. He says Acharya Bharadwaja. Vishalaksha, according to Jayamangala Vyakhyana, he is Maheshwara. Pishuna is known to be Narada, according to Jayamangala, but again in Arthashastra he is known as Pishuna. Kaunapadanta, apparently is Bhishma. It is possible that Bhishma has done a lot of research on the same topic and he has given Upadesha also to Yudhishthira. It is possible that it is Bhishma, but Arthashastra doesn't mention him as Bhishma. So Kaunapadanta, there is a short notes question on him. So we can I don't know if it comes in Smriti section as well, but here there is very few that is that we can write, but these points we can add. Vatavyadhi is Uddhava. Bahudanti Putra, according to Jayamangala, he is Indra. Parashara, followers of Parashara Muni. Manavaha, followers of Manu. Barhaspatya, followers of Brihaspati. Here, Brihaspati, from the description, it seems that he is Charvaka, because he says, it will come later, he says that dharma is not required. That is what he says. It is just a way to make money for people. This is the opinion of Brihaspati. So that also is a important, it may come in exams, because Aushana, Ushanas is Shukra, followers of Shukra are Aushanas. Ambhiya are followers of Ambhi. Acharya, Kautilya mentions Acharya in several places, but it is not very clear whom he is referring to, so it is not specifically known. After Kautilya's Arthashastra, a few works on in similar lines have come. Kamandakiya Nitisara is one. It is a collective work on Arthashastra by Kamandaka, but it is based on Kautilya's Arthashastra, but not everything is mentioned there. Only few adhikaranas, except 2, 3.
Document.
Yeah. Let me know when to start.
We can start.
Okay. I was telling that after Kautilya's Arthashastra, all the previous work had lost relevance, because in Arthashastra, Kautilya has consolidated the theories of all previous acharyas. Okay. Then after that, some people have written commentaries on Arthashastra. So some of them are Kamandakiya, Brihaspati, Shukra, Chanakya, etc. We will see one by one. Kamandakiya Nitisara, he wrote commentary on many adhikaranas except 2, 3, and 4 and 15. Brihaspati Sutra, the original was written much earlier in BC. Brihaspati must be the same Brihaspati whom Kautilya refers to. But later it was rewritten in 9th or 10th century AD. So it is available. The recent one is available. Then Chanakya Niti Sutra is written by Kautilya himself. It is different from Arthashastra, but it is a Niti Sutra. It is also called as Kautilya Niti Sutra. Niti Vakyamrita or Niti Sutras of Somadeva. It is very close to Arthashastra in its content. Rajaniti Ratnakara is written by Chandreshwara. Sorry for the spelling mistake. Chandreshwara. Then about the Kartru Desha Kala, it is written by Kautilya. Kautilya has other names, Vishnugupta and Chanakya. As usual, there is a lot of debate on whether Kautilya is same person as Vishnugupta and Chanakya. So there are some proofs for that, which I have written in bullet points. It is easy to remember. Jayamangala says, Kutilam Nama Gotram Tasya Apatyam Kautilyaha, about the author. And in Arthashastra itself, the author says, Kautilye Arthashastre. And in the same Arthashastra, in another place, he says, Swayameva Vishnuguptaha Chakara Sutram Cha Bhashyam Cha. So that means Kautilya and Vishnugupta are the same, both are the same. Kamandaka in his Niti Sara mentions Vishnugupta and his work Arthashastra in his Pitika. So that means Kamandaka has based his work on Kautilya's Arthashastra, Vishnugupta's Arthashastra. Dandi in his Dashakumara Charita mentions about Acharya Vishnugupta, who for the benefit of Maurya kings wrote a book on Arthashastra consisting of 6,000 verses. Historically, Kautilya is famous with Maurya kingdom, Chandragupta Maurya, who defeated. Kautilya was instrumental in the defeat of Nanda king. So that historical event and Dandi's reference matches. And 6,000 verses, he said, in Arthashastra also there are 6,000 shlokas. So this is a proof that it is the same Kautilya. Bana Bhatta in Kadambari Shukanasopadesha, he says Kautilyam Shastram Pramanam. So this is also another proof. Some are of the opinion that Arthashastra is written by the Shishyas of Kautilya, because in the Arthashastra he doesn't say I say this, but he says Kautilye. So in third person he says about his opinion. But there is another theory that says that it is okay. There are many other shastras also where the author doesn't use first person reference for himself, so it is okay. Then there is another debate about Kautilya and Vatsyayana. Are they same or not? Because Vatsyayana has written Kama Sutra and Kautilya has written Arthashastra. Hemachandra in Abhidhana Chintamani and Yadav Prakasha in Vaijayanti, they think both are the same person, because the style, the shaili is same in both. But Keith also thinks the same, and Keith says the same, and then he says Vatsyayana's time is after AD. It is much later, and he says Kautilya Arthashastra also is written in AD. Okay, there are many similarities between Arthashastra and Kama Sutra, but there is no confirmed evidence that they both are written by the same person. This is the conclusion. Then about Kautilya, the timeline, Kautilya's timeline, he was known to be the guru of Maurya king Chandragupta. He was instrumental in supporting Chandragupta Maurya to defeat Nanda king. The period of Chandragupta Maurya was his rule is from 321 BC. He came to power in 321 BC, and then his grandchild Ashoka became the ruler in 296 BC. So, according to this, Arthashastra was believed to be written during the period 321 BC to 300 BC. Spain says 300 AD is the time. Okay, so Megasthenes had come to the palace of Chandragupta and wrote about his observation. So what he says is that time period and what is written in Arthashastra, they don't match. So he thinks that Arthashastra is of much later period. But later he himself is not very clear about this. So it is not a valid point to decide the timeline of Arthashastra. Then the three historians, Jolly, Schmidt and Winternitz, they say Arthashastra and Yajnavalkya Smriti are similar. So one of one is of the influence. One influences the other. So similarly, Kama Sutra and Arthashastra have similar way of presenting the theories. Kama Sutra's time is 4th century AD. So Arthashastra must be just before that, that is 3rd century AD. But the timeline of Kama Sutra itself is not confirmed. So this theory is not valid. And even if Vasyayana has followed the style of Arthashastra, it doesn't prove that it was just 1 century before. Arthashastra would have been written much earlier. Anytime you can follow the same style, so that is not a valid point. Then there are references of Loha Shastra, metallurgy in Arthashastra, but it was not known whether it was present at Kautilya's time, that is 300 BC. So that must be of the recent times. That is what I mean. Loha Shastra reference is in Arthashastra, but metallurgy was not present in 3rd century BC. This is what they say, but there is no evidence that it was not known. Mahabhashya does not mention Arthashastra. That is another reason why they say that it must be after Mahabhashya's period. But in Mahabhashya they just did not mention it. That's all. This is another theory. So that also is not conclusive about the timeline. Then there are commentaries on Arthashastra. Famous one is Jayamangala. It is written by Shankaracharya, who belongs to 800 AD. So commentary on the first Adhikarana is available. Then Chanakya Tika. This is written by Bhikshu Prabhumati. It is mentioned in Amara Tika Saras. Tika Sarvaswa, Amara Tika Sarvaswa, sorry, in 1959. Only the first and the third adhyayas of 7th Adhikarana are available. It is a recent work. This is also an unpublished work. Pratipada Panchika, written by Bhattaswamy. Commentary is given to each word like how it is mentioned, Pratipada Panchika. Commentary is available only for the 7 adhyayas of 2nd Adhikarana. Nayana Chandrika is written by Sri Madhava Yajvamishra. It is also not for the entire Arthashastra. A few Adhikaranas, a few Adhyayas, a few Adhikaranas are given. Now we will move on to the Arthashastra. This is, I have given an overview first, so that if we read this, we can write for the entire Arthashastra. So that this describes all the Adhikaranas, the gist of all the Adhikaranas. In the Mangala, he says, Prithivyam labhe palanecha yavantyarthashastrani purvacharyehi prasthapitani prayashastani sangrihya ekam idam arthashastram kritam. Kautilya himself says that I have gathered the inputs from all the Purva Acharyas and written this. So it has 15 Adhikaranas, 150 Adhyayas, 180 Prakaranas and 6,000 verses. If you remember these numbers, it will be good to mention for the long answer question. The Gadya is in the Sutra form, and there are 380 Karikas and 6,000 verses. So I will just show you the entire Adhikaranas. These Adhikarana list, if we have and if we refer to it, it will give an overview of the entire Arthashastra. So that I'll just read through. Vinayadhikarikam, that is the first one. It established Anvikshiki, Trayi, Varta, Dandaniti. This is what we are studying for this exam. And it mentions the importance of Vidya and its relevance for the ruler, respecting the elders, that is a Vriddha Sanyoga, controlling of senses, recruitment and testing of ministers and purohits, guidelines for managing the spy network, Gudachara Pranidhi. Then it talks about how to strengthen our own country and how to weaken the enemy's country. Then maintenance of secrecy, that is Mantradhikara, rules for the messengers, upbringing of princes, and sometimes the princes rebel. So how to manage that? They preventing the princes from rebelling and their expected behavior towards the king. All these are explained in Rajaputra Rakshanam and Avaruddha. There are two adhikaranas for that, Avaruddhe Vrittihi, and one more. We will see that later. The duties of the king, the guidelines for his residence, Nishanta Pranidhi, and his daily routines, and safety of the king. All these are explained in the Vinayadhikarikam. Then comes the Adhyaksha Pracharaha, mainly about collection of taxes, collection of grains, management of barren land, construction of forts, maintaining safety of the warehouse, employees responsible for the calculation and collection of the taxes, mainly about taxes, preventing thefts, ways to identify corruption, guidelines for Shasana writing. This is also important. We can see a lot of historical evidence from these Shasanas. So how it is to be written, all those are explained in Adhyaksha Pracharaha. Then managing precious jewelry and stones, management of mines, the workers and the jewelers. Then rules for the businessmen. This chapter also talks about carpentry, looms, agriculture, winery, butcher houses, animal husbandry, rules for soldiers, senapati. So, and then is the Dharmasthiyam. A person who knows about Dharma Shastra and applies the knowledge in the Vyavahara is the Dharmastha. The guidelines for their rules are discussed in this chapter, how the dealings happen, conflicts and conflict resolution, Vyavahara in relation to marriages, and about ancestral property, house, farm and estates. All these are mentioned in Dharmasthiyam. The promises made are called Samaya. So how, like if somebody makes a promise and breaks it, and if they come to the king, how he should solve these. All these are written here. Then about loans, Upanidhi. Upanidhi is like you are giving some important treasure. Maybe you are going somewhere and you ask your friend to keep it. That is Upanidhi. And issues regarding the same, how he should return, what if he doesn't return, all those are explained here. And the employee, and about the employees and the employer. Then about selling, trading, selling our own items, buying and selling, that is trading with appropriate margin, and selling others' items. So all the do's and don'ts about this are mentioned here. And about conflicts, whether it is verbal, physical fighting or gambling, all those, how to resolve all these are explained in this. That is Dharmasthiyam. We'll move on to Kantaka Shodhanam. Kantaka Shodhanam is about investigation. Kantakasya Shodhanam. So it is about the frauds and how to identify them and how to punish them. So frauds may be in the field of carpentry, blacksmiths, goldsmiths, merchants who cheat in weights, and corrupt officials, thieves. So investigating with the help of siddhas who dress like sannyasis. This comes in the Vinayadhikarana Gudha Purusha Pranidhi also. How to identify the corrupt officials. All these are come under there also. So it is more elaborate. Investigation in case of an unnatural death. How to punish. What are the punishments given to these offenders. Then Yoga Vrittam. In the meaning of yoga here is cheating. So Vritta is the punishment for the same. So what is the punishment prescribed for the cheating offenders? Collection of extra taxes during the difficult times, and management of employees, ministers, etc. are explained here. And when the king is in danger, how to protect the prince, the role of the minister to rule until the prince is independently able to do so. Some in history there are situations where the king dies and the prince is very young to rule. So the amatya, the mantri, takes control of the kingdom till he becomes he grows up enough to be able to rule the kingdom by himself. So this is explained here. So only one prince has to be declared as the emperor. That is what it is Kautilya's opinion. Then Mandala Yonihi, there he talks about Prakriti Sampada, Swami, Amatya, friend, treasury, country, fort, and Bala are the Prakritis. So what has to be done there is explained there. Then Samavyayamika also is mentioned, but I couldn't find. Then Shandgunyam, I'll update that document and send Samavyayamika. I'm yet to refer and write. Shadgunyam is about the Shad Gunas, starting with the Sandhi. Basically, this talks about how a king should align with the other neighboring kingdoms. So, if the king is weak, he has to align with the stronger neighbor, Prabalas. Then how he has to make Sandhi by giving Kosha, Bhumi, etc. So, how he has to develop friendship with the neighbor so that he will be, in case somebody attacks him, his Prabala neighbor will help him. So, and ways of blocking the food supply of the enemy and directing it to own country during the fight. See, even if the king is weak, he can block the food supply. So, when the food is being supplied to the enemy's army, if he stops it from going there, then that party becomes a bit weak. So, these are the tricks that Kautilya talks about in this. Forming a group of able kings and going for Dandayatra. When a neighboring king is observed to be weak, either in wealth, health, or due to bad habits, taking the opportunity to attack, and how to make him weaker by talking to the citizens. So all those are explained here. Guidelines to decide who the friendly kings are and how to behave if the enemy is stronger. Then Vyasanadhikarikam. Swami, etc. Prakritis, that is mentioned earlier also. Then Guna Pratil, what is it? Okay, it says Prakriti means Praja here. So whatever difficulty, whatever problem comes to the Praja, that is discussed here. So Vyasana, Pidana, that is calamities due to weather, weather, water, fire, etc. That those are the Vyasanas, difficulty that comes. Stambhana, creating obstacles in governance. Then Kosha Sangha Varga, non-payment of taxes. Then Bala Vyasana Varga, problems related to the army. These are the different Vyasanas that may come to the king, to the country. Mitra Vyasana, how to maintain a friendship, and during conflicts, the decisions to be taken considering the welfare of the country. All these are explained in the Vyasanadhikarikam. Then Abhiyasyat Karma, the duties performed by Vijigishu before the war is explained here. Vijigishu is the one who wants to win the war. He has to study the enemy's Shakti, Desha, Kala, Bala, appropriate time to attack, and what types of sainya and weapons he has to accumulate, then how he has to protect the borders. All these are explained in this. Sangramikam, construction of the war camps. and how they have to go to the battlefield, and then prevention and management of obstacles during the journey, obstacles anyway told earlier. Then Kuta Yuddha techniques, motivating the soldiers, how they have to be motivated. If the enemy is stronger than us, how they have to be properly motivated and to fight them. Then different formations, vyuhas in the war, and about prativyuhas. If the enemy plans a vyuha and how we have to break it, all those are or create a prativyuha for that is explained here. Sangha Vrittam. Sangha is the formation groups. So this chapter talks about how to control rebellion by such groups. Abaliyasam, one who is weak is Abaliya. This is about the guidelines for the weak king. The weak king needs to have different game plans and tricks to be victorious. One such trick is to kill the Senapati of the enemy and the main leaders first, so that it will demoralize the enemy's army. Then aligning with friends to fight the stronger enemy, and cutting down the source of income of enemy king. So source of income are explained also in other chapter also it is explained. Cutting then killing the enemy with stealth. Then Eka Vijaya, where the king fights alone with the enemy, so that it will not damage his army much. So it will be one-on-one fight with between the two kings. Then Durga Lambha Upaya. Durga is the fort. So winning the fort of the enemy, how to enter, how to win. Making the enemy come out of the fort, employing spy network, and the encircling of the fort and attacking is described here. Avamarda, Swadhina, that means Avamarda means occupation of the fort, occupying the fort. Labdha Prashamana, like once you enter the fort, once you win them, how to build trust among the residents of the fort. So that is very important. The new king has to gain trust of the citizens. So that is explained here. Then Aupanishadikam, winning the enemy with the help of mantra, Aushadha Prayoga. Also mentions the remedy if own army is attacked by mantra, Aushadha Prayoga. In this I can remember even in the recent times it happened in Malaysia. We had visited during the war. One in a fort there was a well. So the enemy spy came and poisoned that well water. So the entire people, residents of the fort, were killed because of that. So Chanakya has foreseen these kind of situations in that time itself, and he has written what all, how to prevent it and how to give medicine to that, how to the Aushadikam also, Aushadha Prayoga. Then Tantra Yukti, summary of this is a summary of all the previous chapters. So these 15 adhikaranas, if we remember at least a few of them, and remember the points and list them, it will come to 2-3 pages. So when we elaborate and put our own thoughts in it, our own inputs, it will become a long answer question. Now we will move on to Vinayadhikarikam. Here also I have made a chart so that it will give one overview. So if we refer to this just before the exam, it will help us remember. Okay, 1 second. There are 18 prakaranas and 21 adhyayas. So I have just listed here. Vidya Samuddesha has 4 adhyayas: Rajavritti, Anvikshiki Sthapana, Trayi Sthapana, Varta Dandaniti Sthapana. Next comes with Vriddha Sanyogaha. It has only 1 adhyaya, the same. Indriya Jayaha is the next prakaranam. It has 2 adhyayas: Arishadvargatyaga, Rajarshivrittihi. Then next prakaranam is Amatya Utpattihi, Mantri Purohita Utpattihi, उपधाभिः शौचज्ञानम् अमात्यानां गूढपुरुषोत्पत्तिः गूढपुरुषप्रणिधिः स्वविषये कृत्याकृत्यपक्षरक्षणं परविषये कृत्याकृत्यपक्ष उपग्रहः मन्त्राधिकारः दूतप्रणिधिः राजपुत्ररक्षणम् अवरुद्धे वृत्तिः राजप्रणिधिः निशान्तप्रणिधिः आत्मरक्षितकम्. These are the 18 prakaranam that we have to study. All these are important that we are studying this year. And Vidya Samuddesha has 4 adhyayas. Rajavritti. This is like index. It says it mentions all the adhyayas that are in, all the prakaranam and adhyayas that are in the Arthashashtra. So that is there is only one important shloka that comes at the end of it, that is Sukha Grahana Vijneyam Tattvartha Pada Nishchitam Kautilyena Kritam Shastram Vimukta Grantha Vistaram. This we can mention in for the long answer question also, because how is Arthashastra written? The purpose of it, Sukha Grahana Vijneyam, to easily understand it, and Tattvartha Pada Nishchitam Kautilyena Kritam Shastram Vimukta Grantha Vistaram. It is very concise. It doesn't have Vistara. Very short and to the point. So that we can write. Anvikshiki Sthapana is the next adhyaya. It says Sankhya, Yoga and Lokayata. This we will discuss again later. Trayi Sthapana, it says Trayi are Rig, Yajur and Sama. Varta, Dandaniti Sthapana. Varta is agriculture and trade. Dandaniti we know. Vriddha Sanyoga, here Vriddha means Jnani. How the king should learn from the Jnanis. Indriya Jayaha has 2 adhyayas, Arishadvarga Tyaga and Rajarshi Vritti. So here Arishadvarga are Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Mana, Mada and Harsha, not Matsalya. In some classification they say Matsalya, but here it is Harsha. Harsha means what? It's not the happiness Harsha, it is the teasing, making fun of people, that time. When we see the examples, we'll come to know. Rajarshi Vritti is the guidelines for the king. Amatyotpatti, who should be recruited as Amatyas, all these are explained there. Mantri Purohita Utpatti, qualities expected in ministers and Purohits. In Amatya Utpatti, he consolidates the opinion of all the other acharyas, which we have to highlight, because in the first chapter itself he says Purvacharyahi. So that means this is one example of that. Then Upadhabhi Shauchajnanam Amatyanam. This is a testing of Amatyas, Upadhas, the important 4 Upadhas. Gudha Purushotpatihi, recruitment of spies. Gudha Purusha Pranidhihi, duties of the spies. This also is asked. Both these are asked. Swavishaye Kritya Paksha Rakshanam, observation within the country. How the Gudhacharas have to work within the country. And Paravishaye Kritya Paksha Upagraha, how they have to do the spying in the enemy's country. These 2 have not been asked, these 2 chapters. Then Mantradhikaraha, guidelines for Mantralochana, for the meetings, how the secrecy has to be maintained is explained here. Duta Pranidhihi, about messengers. Rajaputra Rakshanam, all about the princes. Abdha Vrittam, both are combined in one. Both adhyayas are combined in, both prakaranas are combined in one adhyaya. This is about the rebel. Avaruddha is about the rebellious prince. So how to manage that? How to prevent and manage? Raja Pranidhihi, king's duties and routine. Nishanta Pranidhihi, location and safety of Rajagriha. Both have come for short notes. What are the duties, morning duties of the king? All those are asked in the exam. Atma Rakshitah, this is about the safety of the king. So this we will go in detail, study in detail now. Vidya Samuddeshaha. The first one, in Rajavritti there is two important things. One is Mangala and Grantha Swarupa is given. So, Om Namah Shukra Brahaspati Bhyam. So, a very short Mangala. Then, Prithivyam Labhe Palane Cha Yavat Shastrani Purvacharyehi Prastapitani Prayashastani Sangrihyayikam Arthashastram Kritam. So I am reading it again and again so that it will remain in our memory. Then at the end of the Adhyaya, he mentioned the purpose of the Grantha. Shuka Grahana Vijnayam Tattvartha Padanishchitam Kautilyena Kritam Shastram Vimukta Grantha Vistaram. Then Anvikshiki Sthapana. So here Manu, there are only three types of vidya, that is they are Trayi, Varta and Dandaniti, but Brihaspati says Varta and Dandaniti is enough, no need of Trayi. Trayi is just to distract people and make money. This is Charvaka, they are Charvaka followers. So Brihaspati is known to be Charvaka. Aushanasa, that means Ushanas, followers of Shukra, they say Dandaniti is the only Vidya required and all the other are part of it. Dandaniti Reka Vidya Ityaushanasaha. This comes comes for short notes. So we have to mention all these points and say Shukra's followers' opinion. Anvikshaki consists of Sankhya, Yoga and Lokayata. Sankhya is written is by Kapila Muni. Yoga, Maharshi Patanjali has written Yoga Sutras. Lokayata is about Brihaspati or Charvaka. So Sankhyam Yoga Lokayatam cha Ityanvikshiki. It is said to be the Tarkika Adhyayana of Darshanas. Samiksha Sadhana Tarkaha Anvikshaki. Anvikshaki is the Tarka is the basis for all the Shastras. Because so Pradipaha Sarva Vidyanam Upayaha Sarva Karmanam Ashrayaha Sarva Dharmanam Shashvad Anvikshiki Mata. That is what Kautilya says. Next, Trayi Sthapana. So, Trayi are Sama, Rig and Yajurveda. Trayaha Trayi. Atharva Veda is known as Itihasa. So, it is not part of the Trayi. So, Vedanga, Shiksha, Kalpa, Vyakarana, Nirukta, Chandas and Jyotishya are part of the Trayi. Because they are needed to understand these three. Then Kautilya defines Varna Dharma and Ashrama Dharmas. So, Varna Dharmas are Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya and Shudra.
Once again, about the Atharva Veda, where did you get the reference that it is part of Itihasa?
I have referred to KSOU material and K. Krishna Bhatta's Kannada translation. So, and in the class also, I think sir said that.
What I have heard is, though they call us Trayi here, it includes everything. Is what even Kautilya in his commentary itself has written. I remember reading like that somewhere. Okay, let's make a note of that point.
Okay.
Yeah, Atharva Veda, the point is Atharva Veda is included in, when they say Trayi, it is all the Vedas, including Atharva Veda and probably all the Itihasas and all the Vedangas also.
Okay.
But Atharva Veda is a Itihasa, is to be considered as a Itihasa. I don't remember seeing it.
Okay, I'll verify that. Yeah. I'll verify and update, okay, and let you know. So, but surely Atharva Veda is not part of Trayi, but whether it is Itihasa or Itihasa and Atharva Veda are considered not part of Trayi. That is the doubt here.
No, I think Kautilya says, yeah, though Trayi, that's a different topic altogether. Why Atharva Veda is not included as Trayi? I think we had it for our assignment also. That's a very detailed, it's like a research topic itself.
Okay.
But that apart, when he mentions Trayi, generally Trayi refers to Vedas. So here when he says Vedas, my understanding was that he referred to everything related to Vedas, which means all the 4 Vedas and the Vedangas, everything. That is what he himself writes in the commentary. That's how I remember reading it. Because I had, in some assignment or something, I remember including this point. So we'll get back to that again.
Okay. So I can't edit. It is PDF. I can't.
Okay, great.
Can't edit now, so I'll make a note and let's see. Okay, I'll read again and let you all know. Okay, the 4 Varna dharmas are Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya and Shudra. This is known. The duties of them, Brahmana has to do Yajana, Yajana, Dana and Pratigraha. Kshatriya has to engage in Adhyayana, Yajana, Dana and protection. Vaishya's duty is to do Adhyayana, Yajana, Dana, agriculture, Pashupalana and trade. Shudra has to support all the other 3 dharmas, Varta, that is agriculture, Varta, Shilpa and Kushilava karma. So then the 4 ashrama dharmas are defined: Grihastha, Brahmacharya, Vanaprastha and Parivrajaka. Grihastha performs the duties of Grihastha ashrama, gets married at the suitable time and to the suitable bride, and he does dana. Brahmacharya, during Brahmacharya, one has to do Swadhyaya, Agnikarya, Snana, Bhiksha, Guru Shushrusha. Then Vanaprastha, he has to do Brahmacharya and live a simple life. It is explained there also how he has to sleep on the floor on this simple mat, and all those are explained there. And Parivrajaka, he has to live a life of detachment. Kautilya says one has to perform duties according to Swadharma. The king's responsibility is to encourage his people to follow their dharma, and he has to and to be in the path of righteousness. He has to create an environment for his citizens to follow their Varna dharmas and Ashrama dharmas properly. So, if the teachings of Trayi are practiced well, the world will be a happy place. There will not be any sorrow. This is what Kautilya says. Tasmat swadharmam bhutanam raja na vyabhicharayet swadharmam sandadhano hi pretya cha iha na nandati vyavasthitarya maryadaha krita varnashrama sthitihi trayabhirakshito lokaha prasidati na sidati. This comes for exam. Whatever I've highlighted with blue is important. Then in Varta Dandaniti Sthapana, Varta is about agriculture and animal husbandry and trade. Dandaniti, it is instrumental in the protection of Anvikshaki, Trayi and Varta. Anvikshaki, Trayi, Vartanam, Yogakshema Sadhano, Dandaha, Tasya Nitir Dandanitihi, Alabdha Labharta, Labdha Parirakshani, Rakshita Vivardhani, Vruddhasya Tirthe Pratipadani cha. Obtaining the alabdha and protection of that is obtained, growing of what is saved, Rakshita Vardhini, Rakshita Vivardhini, and distribution of what is grown to the needy, like it has to be distributed appropriately as well, is what is discussed in this chapter. About Danda Prayoga, see here Kautilya says about Acharya. We don't know who this Acharya is. Acharya says Danda is the best way to control the citizens, but Kautilya does not think so. He says Dandaniti should be, Danda Prayoga should be there appropriately. It should not be more, it should not be less. If it is too much, people will start hating the king, and king will not get their respect. And if it is too lenient, too little, king will not gain the that bhaya bhakti will not be there. That bhaya aspect will not be there. So he will not be respected. So people may take advantage of his leniency. That is what Kautilya says. Samayochita danda is the right way. Next is Vriddha Sayoga. Vriddha is the people with knowledge, Jnani. So here he talks about Jnana Vriddhatva rather than old age. So the king has to strive to acquire knowledge from all the sources. Is the importance of this adhyaya. This is the continuation of Dandaniti. It begins with Tisro Vidyaha. This has been asked in the question exam. So this is about Dandaniti, but it comes under Vriddha Sanyoga chapter. So for the good governance, appropriate Dandaniti is essential. In that situation, it is possible for all the Vidyas to flourish. So Danda should be based on Vinaya. So he also says Upadesha can be made only to the smart person who is see only who is able to understand the teachings can be taught, not the manda buddhi. So what is the teaching Upadesha? It is how to be polite and righteous. That is the Upadesha that will be given to everybody. Only the smart person will be able to comprehend it and bring it to practice. Shushrusha, Shravana, Grahana, Dharana, Vijnana, Uhapoha, Tattvabhinivishta, Buddhim, Vidya, Vinayati, na itaram. So Shushrusha is care, Shravana, by listening, Grahana, grasping it, Dharana, remembering it, Vijnana, Vivechana, imagination and discarding what is not important. So not needed. Tattvabhinivishta, Nirnaya of Vastu Swabhava. Buddhim Vidya Vinayati na itaram. With all these qualities, one will be gaining the Vidya. Education will lead one to become polite if he has the above qualities. One needs discipline and Acharya's Pramanya. So how one has to be initiated to the Vidya is also explained. The rituals, Chaula Karma, all these are explained here. And how the routine of the Grihastha in terms of Vidyarjana is given. He has to spend the first half of the day in the practice of Shastras, then caring of the elephants, horses and all has to be done. In the second half, has to be spent in listening to the Itihasa, Purana, Dharma Shastra and Arthashastras. The remaining day should be dedicated for Swadhyaya, Vyasanga. Shrutadhi prajna upajayate prajnaya yogo yogad atmavatta iti vidyanam samarthyam. By listening to the Shastras, one will attain prajna. From that yoga, udyogashilata. From yoga, one attains atmavatta. So this is the advantage of Vidya. Vidya vinito rajahi prajana vinaye rataha. Ananyam prithivim Bhumte sarvabhuta hite rataha. This also is a short note question. A learned king with Vinayata is able to provide good governance. This will make him enjoy the kingdom without enemies. Next is Indriya Jaya. This has come for long answer question because there are a lot of examples given here that we can elaborate and write long answers. So, what is Indriya Jaya? Vidya Vinaya Hetuhu Indriya Jaya. And how it is done, how it is Indriya Jaya is achieved Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Mana, Mada, Harsha, Tyagat, Karyaha. So what are so in this there are two adhyayas in this prakarana. There are two adhyayas. One is Arishadvarga Tyaga and another is Rajarshi Vrittihi. Okay, Arishadvarga Tyaga, it is explained, we can explain in detail about this. So the six enemies, the six sense organs, Karna, Twag, Jihva, these are the six. Twag, Akshi, Jihva, Grana, and their respective activities are to be in control. So Kautilya gives example for two example for each of the Arishadvargas. How the kings who failed to be in control of these, how they have been destroyed. That is what he says. Kama is, he gives example of Dandakya Bhoja and Vaideha Karala. Dandakya Bhoja, he abducted the Bhargava Kanya during his hunting trip. So Bhargava comes to know about it and he curses. So the entire country got destroyed by the sand shower. Marulina Male. So Vaideha Karala, similarly he abducted the Brahmin's wife. So the king and the ministers died because of the Brahmin's curse. Then Krodha, Janamejaya and Talajanga. Janamejaya does Ashwamedha Yaga. So Indra comes there and he sees the queen and he is attracted to her and troubles her. But the king, they don't know who has done the mischief. So king gets very angry with the Brahmins, Ritwijas who are there and suspecting them, and he gets very angry and punish them. This is the Krodha. Without Vivechana he acts, and due to their curse his head was burst into 1,000 pieces and he dies. And Talajanga, this also is a very funny story. Talajanga somehow his country becomes poor and he goes to Bhrugu's ashram for blessings, and somebody has placed a golden box in Bhrugu's ashram. Talajanga sees it and wants to take it. So he's the Hehaya king. He grabs the box because he thinks that it is not really needed for the rishi. But the sage stops him and Talajanga gets very angry and he goes to kill the sage and he gets destroyed. He gets burnt by the fire, he and his family. So they are destroyed by the fire created during that. So that is how Krodha is not good. That is what he says. And Lobha, Ailava Pururava, Aila Pururava and Sauvira Ajabindu. So Aila Pururava, he goes to Swargaloka. He is invited by Indra to the Swargaloka. He goes there and he makes a mistake there. There Dharma, Artha, Kama are personified and they were sitting there, and he does pranam only to Dharma and ignores Artha and Kama and they curse him. So due to the Kama's curse, he gets attracted to Urvashi and then he suffers. When he returns, he suffers with the Viraha of Urvashi. That after that is done, the Artha's curse is that comes into prominence, and due to Artha Shapa, he becomes Lobhi. So he starts collecting excess tax from his citizens. He troubles his citizens by too much collection, too much expectation in terms of tax. So Brahmins curse him and dies. Here one can also observe the importance of Artha and Kama along with Dharma. Kautilya always says all these should be in balance. So this is another one example here. And Savvira Ajabindu, he wanted to see all the wealth in one place. Crazy fellow, he wanted to see everything in one place and forces his citizens to bring their money and pour in one place. So they get so frustrated and then they kill him by pelting stones. So this is Savirajapindu. Then Mana, this is Durabhimana. Mana is Durabhimana. The story of Ravana and Duryodhana, we already know this. It is not elaborately given here, but we can write about Ravana's Durabhimana and ego, where he makes a mistake and refuses to accept it. Anytime he could have given Sita back, but he doesn't. He sticks to his ego. So that because of that he perishes. Duryodhana also same way. So then Mada, Dambodhava and Kartavirya Arjuna. Dambodhava was very brave and he was very successful. He was very proud of his valor, but he becomes so proud that he starts looking for fights. So he goes in search of opponent to fight with him, and he knows he will win. He reaches a point that he has won all the opponents, and then he's desperate that he wants to fight some more. So Narada suggests him to go and meet Naranarayana of Badrikashram. So he goes there and he gets killed by Nara. Kartavirya Arjuna, similarly, he has this mother that he alone is the best in the world. So Narada tells about Parashurama. So Arjuna goes to Jamadagni's ashram and just to begin the fight, he drags the calf and he also drags Parashurama into a fight, and his 1,000 arms were chopped in the fight. So then Harsha, Vrishni Sangha and Ilvala Vatapi, these both are very famous stories. Vrishni Sangha is a Yadava clan. They dress up one of the members as Samba, as a woman, and they mock. Harsha is actually mockery. It's the negative meaning of Harsha, the mockery. So they go to Dvaipayana Durvasa and they ask him, this lady is pregnant, just bless her and tell, predict fortune telling, predict what she will give birth. So he comes to know, with his siddhi, he comes to know their joke, and he says, she will give birth to an iron rod that will destroy your clan. So they get scared, and then whatever comes out, the iron piece, they throw it, the pieces, they crush it and make it into pieces, and they throw it in the sea. But later they fight with the weed grown in the sea, but they don't know that those iron pieces are growing with those weeds, that they are stuck with those. So that becomes the reason for their death. Everybody dies there, and the same iron is used by one Vyadha, and he thinks that Krishna's leg, pada, is a deer's ear, and he shoots, and Krishna also dies because of that, because Krishna is also from the Yadava clan. Then Ilvala Vatapi story also we all know. So Vatapi would become goat, and Ilvala will cook the goat and invite a guest. So when the guest is having lunch, having the meal, or just after having the dish, he will call Vatapi. The Vatapi, with his magical powers, he will burst the stomach of the guest and come out, and they would enjoy seeing this scene of the death of their guest, which is very cruel of them. So, but they try it on Agastya. So, but he comes to know about their trick, and after having his meal, when Ilvala calls out for Vatapi, he says, Vatapi Jirno Bhava. So with that, Vatapi has become Jirna. So this is the story. So with these examples, he says, the king should be, he should have done Arishadvarga Tyaga. The kings who achieved Indriya Jaya are mentioned here, Jamadagnya and Navaga Ambarisha. Then next in the same prakarana is Rajarshi Vritti. So what is expected of a good king, Rajarshi? Nivedita, this part was explained in detail in KSOU class, if you remember. So we can expect a question, I think.
Okay.
He should have the 6 enemies in control, that is Indriya Jaya. He should acquire adequate knowledge from Vruddha Sanyoga, and he should be aware of all the happenings with the able spy network, Charu Chakshuhu, or Charu Chakshuhu, and should work. Charu Chakshuhu, please remember this word because it will come in the next also, we can quote. Then he should work relentlessly for the welfare of the country. He should establish Swadharma. Then Vinaya, Anushasana should be done according to the Shastras. Appropriate usage of wealth and gain popularity. He should gain popularity, and he should have a favorable mannerism. So these are the qualities expected of Rajarshi. What should be relinquished by Rajarshi? How he should not be behaving? He should not have parastri dravya himsascha. Okay, these he should not, vyamohas he should not have. Should not be fickle-minded. Should not have chanchalya. Should give up telling lies, inappropriate dressing, sahavasa that leads to downfall. These he should not have. Then he should give up adharmika and anartha vyavaharas. Adharmika we know. Here anartha means that will not lead to good artha. Artha is finances. Like that it will not be any useful for the benefit, monetary benefit. Should not be engaged. The king should not be engaged in that. What are the role of dharma, artha, kama for a Rajarshi? So here Kautilya promotes balance. He does not say dharma alone is great. He says dharma should guide the path of artha and kama. He emphasizes on artha the most, but he also says kama should be given due importance in such a way that it does not hinder the path of dharma and artha. But kama should never be relinquished, because if you see the historical stories, in the Kautilya Chanakya story itself, a weak king in this aspect is easily lured by the Vaishyas. So the detectives, the spies, Gudhacharas come in the form of Vaishyas also. So that weakness also should not be there in the king, is what Kautilya says. Kautilya again emphasizes on the importance of artha. Artha moolavhi dharma kama viti. This is a very important quote for the short notes. Then the protocol to be followed by the king is also explained. King may falter at times, so the mantri, amatya and purohita should be appointed to alert him. So they should not be the yes people. They should not always say yes to whatever king says. They should have the ability to guide the king in the times where king falters. Okay, and king should have the sense to listen to them, take the feedback from mantri, amatya and purohitas and follow wherever appropriate and applicable. He has to follow their advice also, take their advice also. So here Kautilya gives the example of the cart. The cart will not move with one wheel. In the same manner, king alone can't run the whole system. Sahaya sadhyam rajatvam chakram ekam navartate. So this is also important. Kurvita sachivans tasmat tesham cha shunuyan matam. So he has to shunuyan matam. Their opinion also he has to listen. Next is Amatya Utpatti. So this is a long answer question. We can start from here. We can quote Sahaya Sadhyam Rajatvam Chakram Ekam Navartate. So from here we can start. A vehicle, a cart will not move with one chakra. Similarly, Kautilya explains the importance of Amatyas and Mantris, and then we can continue with the Amatyotpatti chapter. Kautilya says, Purvacharyahi prasthapitani prayashastani sangrahyayikam idam arthashastram kritam. Again, I'm quoting it here also in the beginning of the book. So this adhyaya is a good example for that. In this, he consolidates the opinion of all the previous Arthashastrajnas, and finally, at the end, he says what he thinks. So this also Gurraj sir has explained in detail in KSOU class. So Bharadwaja Matam, Bharadwaja says who has to be appointed as Amatyas. Saha Adhyayis should be made as Amatyas. That means king and in childhood both would have attended the same Gurukulam. So the king and the person, they know each other very well, so that they have built up friendship, a rapport, so that it is easy for them to work together. That is what Bharadwaja says. But Vishalaksha says this is not good, because they will not, such Amatyas will not respect the king. They may ignore the king like how they used to play in their childhood. So king and the person who has who were involved in some rahasya activity, they should be made as Amatya. That means king knows their weakness, so he will be loyal to the king, fearing the revelation of that activity, rahasya activity. But Parashara says that has a flip side, because he also would know the secret of the king. King, when he was a prince, he was engaged in some rahasya karya with this person. So he can also manipulate king with that secret. So that is not good. So king may compromise on policies, fearing that Amatya's activity. He may blackmail the king. That is what is said. So one who can protect the king at any time should be appointed as Amatya. He should be so loyal that he should be ready to even die for the king. Such. So this is Parashara's mata. Next is Narada, also known as Pishuna. So protecting the king at all the times shows one's bhakti for the king. But an Amatya should be able to give advice also. So bhakti alone is not enough, not sufficient. So he should be in a position to guide the king also. So king should give some work to the person and observe. If the person performs the work diligently and he does more than what is expected, he is an ideal candidate to become Amatya, because he takes ownership and does more than what is needed there. Then Kauna Padanta says such people are not experienced. So a person who hails from a family of ministers should be appointed, because since childhood the boy would have seen his parents being Amatyas or Mantris or their grandparents, so he would have the experience since young. So, he knows the protocols, how to behave, how to give advice. All those he would have known since childhood. So, Amanusheshvapi cha etadrishyate gavo Haya Sagantham Goganam Atikramya Sagandheshveva Avatishtante. That means he says this, even the cows will not go with a different herd. Even the calves will follow their own herd. So this boy who is from the family of ministers will be loyal to the king. This is what is told here. But Uddhava does not agree with this. He says, in that case, that family of Amatyas will get a control over the royal family. That is not a good situation, because they may control the prince and the king. So they have to have the respect also. They have to be loyal to the king and the family. So they should not, they may start behaving superior to the king. So a new candidate with suitable moral values should be appointed, is Uddhava's opinion. Those who are new to the system will have that bhaya bhakti towards the king. Bahudanti Putra says, a person who is totally new to the system, however good he may be, will not perform well, because he takes time to learn, and if he makes mistakes, it will be very costly to the country. So his quality should be well known. Abhijana prajna shaucha shauryanuraga yuktan amatyan kurvita. So with the due consideration of all these qualities, one has to be appointed as amatya. Kautilya says all these opinions are valid. Depending on one's ability, the job has to be assigned. He does not rule out any of these. He says all are to be considered, and take whatever is good for the situation. Take the opinion whichever suits you the best. One has to observe his gunas, desha, kala, and appoint him, is Kautilya's opinion. Then the Mantri Purohita Utpattihi, this is for the, it's a continuation of the same. So we can include these points also in the long answer question. Qualities expected from Amatya. Janapado Abhijataha Swavagrahaha Krita Shilpaha Chakshushman Prajnaha Dharayishnuhu Dakshaha Vagmi Pragalbhaha Pratipattiman Utsaha Prabhava Yuktaha Kleshasaha Shuchihi Maitraha Dridha Bhaktihi Shila Bala Arogya Sattva Yuktaha Stambha Chapalahinaha Sampriyaha Vairanam Akarta Iti Amatya Sampat. What are Amatya Sampat? What are the good qualities expected of Amatya? Brought up in a good surrounding, Janapadaha, Abhijataha, from a good family, Swavagrahaha, has good control over himself. Krita Shilpa, having knowledge in fine arts. Chakshushman, having knowledge of Shastras. Prajnaha, Jnani, Trikala Jnani. Dharayishnuhu, having excellent Dharana Shakti, that is memory skill. Dakshaha, skillful. Vagmi, orator. Pragalbhaha, Chatura. Then Pratipattiman, with presence of mind. Utsahaha, enthusiastic. Prabhavi, Prabhavayuktaha, Prabhavi. Then Klesha Sahaha, Kashta Sahishnu, they say in Kannada, who has the ability to tolerate pain. Shuchihi, clean in the sense Shuddha Chitta, friendly. Then Maitraha, Dridha Bhaktihi, Shila Bala Arogya Sattva Yuktaha. Having faith, Shila is, I don't know the English translation for this, good quality, good Shila anta heltare. One good guna expected of a person. Strength. Character, yeah, good character, noble character. Strength, health, and Sattva Yukta. Then Chanchalya, he should not have Chanchalya, devoid of egoistic and fickle-minded nature. Liked by all, what is the word for that? Sampriyaha, liked by all. Then Vairanam Akarta, without any enemies. So these are the qualities. We have to let's try to remember almost all of this, and we can elaborate on that. Then one who has most of the qualities is the best. One who has at least 3/4 of the qualities is listed as madhyama, and having half the qualities is adhama. But he doesn't say about rejecting any candidate. He places them in different roles. So ways to check, how to check the qualities: to know about the person's nature and interaction with the people, and inquire with those who closely interact with him. Then to know about his education and knowledge, inquire with his peers. Observe his work to know about his knowledge, memory, and skill. Observe the conversation to understand his oratory skills and presence of mind. During the times of difficulty, assess his enthusiasm and kashta sahishnuta. Inquire about Sheela, Bala, Arogya, Sattva with his neighbors, and all the other remaining qualities by observation. So, and what are the pramanas? Pratyaksha, Paroksha, Anumeya, hi Rajavrittihi. This has been asked in the exam. Pratyaksha, Paroksha, Anumeya. So there are three ways of knowing, three pramanas. One is Pratyaksha, that means directly see something and understand. Paroksha is when we hear about a person from someone else. We hear, read, Paroksha. Anumeya is by observing what the person has done and what he has not done. From his work, observe if he has completed the work to satisfaction, or if he has done more, or if he has not completed. A king can't be everywhere and do all the tasks, so he needs able amartyas to do the work, to get the work done. Now he talked about the Purohitas. Purohita should be from the family of the learned, with the knowledge of Vedangas. Just that is not enough. He should also know the knowledge of Dandaniti. Because he also should guide the king to take appropriate decisions. Then he should have spiritual knowledge, Shakuna, Shastra also. Knowledge also should be there. He should be able to practice techniques of Atharva Veda to ward away Daiva, Amanusha disturbances. There we have come across like Aushadha Prayoga, Mantra Prayoga, all those to ward off all those. Purohita is consulted. Such a Purohita should be respected by the king. So here there is a quote for how the Purohita should be respected. One second. I missed it here. Okay, he says in Kannada translation, I'll just read. Avananu Shishyanu Acharyanannu ಉಪಚರಿಸುವಂತೆ ಮಗನು ತಂದೆಯನ್ನು ಸೇವಿಸುವಂತೆ ಸೇವಕನು ಒಡೆಯನಿಗೆ ವಿಧೇಯನಾಗಿರುವಂತೆ ಅನುಸರಿಸಬೇಕು. That means Purohita should be respected by the king in this manner. Like he should behave like a shishya. King should treat the Purohita as Acharya. The Purohita should be treated like a father. And Sevakanu Odayanige Vidhayanagiruvante. Like Purohita has a say. Raja is expected to be obedient, respectful towards the Purohita. So that is the place Purohita has. Now, how to test the amatyas? Upadhabihi shaucha jnanam amatyanam. So this is the upadha. The question has repeatedly come in the exam. So it can be a long answer. It can be a short notes question. Dharmopada, Arthopada also was asked. Both were asked in the exams. King should appoint jobs to the amatyas, and with the help of Purohita and Mantri, sorry, there is a typo. Mantri test their abilities, weakness, and loyalty. Such a test is called Upadha. After their quality is known, suitable duties will be assigned to the Amatyas. So, Dharmopada. This is to observe how strong the Amatya is in Dharma aspect. So, they have to create a situation where a person who without experience is asked to perform a yajna or yaga, and then king comes to know, and he will say that you have not done the yaga properly, and he will fire him. So then the purohit, he is part of the plan. He should approach the amatya and say that, see, he has insulted me, this king doesn't know any dharma, is not dharmika, let us conspire against him and choose someone better to be the king. So if the amatya uh, agrees to the plan, falls for this plan, and then he is failed. But if he doesn't agree, he is shuchi, he is shuddha. So that is dharmopada. Arthopada, that means here there are two this thing. One is his loyalty, Amatya's loyalty, and also Amatya, if he himself finds the activity done was not appropriate, if he sees that the Purohita has not done the yaga correctly and he justifies king's action, that means he knows the dharmika ways. So these two are tested here. Arthopada. This is to test the political aspect and loyalty of the newly appointed Amatya. So army general has to be fired. Again, it is his part of the plan. Then he should approach the Amatya and say that we will all plan a coup. Then he also should say that you are not alone, all the other Amatyas are also with us, so let us all plan something. So if the Amatya falls for it, he fails the test, otherwise he is Shuchi. If he disagrees, he is Shuchi. Kamopada is also very very strange. Here the Amatya is asked by the Bhikshuki. Bhikshuki means one who is appointed in the Antapura. She comes and says that queen is attracted to you, please come and meet her. Otherwise she'll be very angry with you. So either meet her and or otherwise face the consequence. If he denies, he is Shuchi. He is clean in Kamopada, he has passed. So Bhayopada, Bhaya. So what he does is, this also is a plan. One Amatya invites all the other Amatyas, they have a party. But the king comes to know about this party and he thinks that they are conspiring against him. And this is also king's plan now. It is a game plan to test the new Amatyas. So king pretends to dismiss all of them, and they are put in house arrest. And the Kapatika is a spy. Kapatika meets each Amatya one by one and says that all are planning coup against the king. So are you with us? So now the Amatyas are not sure of king's plan. Already they are put under house arrest. They have that bhaya, fear of king's future action. So if to save their lives, if they join the Kapatika's, if they agree with Kapatika's words, then they are not loyal to the king. But if they wait, and if they know that king will be convinced that we are all then if the Amatya does not fall for it, he is clean, he is Shuddha. Okay, so according to these four Upadhas, the duties will be assigned. Shuddha in Dharmopadha, who has passed, who is clean in Dharmopada, he will be appointed in Dharmasthya Kantaka Shodhana. Kantaka Shodhana we have seen. So he will be Dharmastha. He will be he will have a say in all the Dharmastha activities. Shuddha in Arthopada. So Samahartri karma and Sannidhatri karma, that is Dhana Sangraha and Dhana Rakshana duty will be given to him. Shuddha in Kamopada, he will be assigned the duty of the Antapura safety, security and royal gardens. Wherever that kind of safety is required, he will oversee that because he has already been tested and clean. Shuddha in Bhayopada, once again. He will be appointed very close to the king because this is the most difficult test, because the king has fired them and still they were loyal to the king. So they have passed that test and they will be in a very close proximity to the king, protecting the king. One who is Shuddha in all the upadhas is eligible to become a mantri. Mantri is senior to Amatyas. Okay, so the Amatya who has passed all these tests will become mantri. One who fails in all the tests should be appointed in the departments of mines, timber, forestry, etc., where there is physical labor is required. So here, one interesting aspect is just because they fail the one upadha, they are not dismissed from the duties. They are given appropriate duties where they will fit in. So Kautilya, these are all the opinions that he has collected, but Kautilya has his own mata, his own opinion about upadha. This also is very important, we have to mention. The king and queen should not be part of the upadha. So if we see this, take Kautilya's words, Kamopada, as explained earlier, is not valid. Kritacha kalusha buddhi rupadha bihi chaturvidha. That means one should not poison the pure water. In the same way, a noble person should not feel cheated in the name of upadha. He may be very loyal. Just because he comes to know that he was tested in a very in a way that is not appropriate for his loyalty, he may slowly turn against the system. So that should not happen, is what Kautilya says. Once the process of upada has begun, it has to reach completion with a clear result. Halfway, like if somebody has started planning a coup and if the upada is stopped halfway, then it is very dangerous for the country. So it has to complete. Whatever upada that has begun has to complete. It should never be left halfway. Kautilya says king and the Antapura should be left out in the process. They should not be part of the test. Keeping other aspects in mind, with the help of spies, upada has to be carried out, is Kautilya's opinion. Okay. Part 1 is over. We'll just have a review. Vidya Samuddesha Prakarana we had, which has 4 adhyayas: Rajavritti, Anvikshiki Sthapana, Trayi Sthapana, Varta, Dandaniti Sthapana. About Trayi, I have to get back about Atharva Veda and Itihasa part. Vriddha Sanyoga, Vriddha is Jnana Vriddhatva, so how Raja should gain knowledge. Indriya Jayaha has 2 adhyayas, Arishadva Vargatyaga, Rajarshi Vrittihi. Arishadva Arga are Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Mana, Mada and Harsha. Amatya Utpatti, Mantri, Purohita Utpatti, and Upadhabish, Shaucha, Shauchajnanam, Amatyanam, 4 kind of upadhas. Next, we will see in part 2. Nivedita, Harini, anything that you need to add?
That's it, no?
Yeah, for part 1, that's it. The next I will continue.
There is more, is it?
No, this is part 1 now. Now, next we have, now we have to see Guda Purushotpatti, Guda Purusha Pranidhihi. Also important questions. Then these 2, 9th and 10th are not so important. Mantradhikara, there is a short note. Duta Pranidhi also there is a short note.
Okay, fine.
Rajaputra Rakshanam, Nishanta Pranidhi was asked. Atma Rakshitakam also is asked. So
Okay.
it is elaborate, but was it useful?
Yes, yes. The more concise, the better. The remaining portions also, whatever is required for the exam, let's prepare
Okay.
for that. Yeah,
Okay.
sure.
Okay.
Thanks a lot. Very good.
Thank you.
Thanks, Divya. It was really good.
Thank you. Thanks, Harini. Yeah. I'll tell you either tomorrow or day after tomorrow we'll keep the next